Hello and welcome to week 10 of my Christmas series. This is my final week of the Christmas series and I wanted to share a little something special with you today. So we are going to create a super cute little box that holds either a mini bubble bath or a bottle of wine. My name is Dawn Robles and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located outside of the Phoenix metro area. Or I am in the Phoenix metro area. So first let me show you that I had found these cute little bubble baths. I give them to my daughters every year, and this year I wanted some really cute packaging to go with it. So I find these at Ulta Beauty. They are like 5 for $1, so you can't go wrong there, right? Even if you just, usually I throw it in their stockings. Or I'm having a little get together with some of my Stampin' girlfriends this weekend, and I'm going to put an actual bottle of wine in some of theirs. So if I know that they're wine drinkers, they may be getting the wine in lieu of the bubble bath. We'll just have to wait and see. Okay, so how does the box open? I'm going to show you how the box opens here, but we are actually going to be making one with like this today. So I'm going to show you how to make the elf shoes. He actually swings, so that's a lot of fun. So we are going to be using paper from the, I use it every week. You think I'd remember the name. It is the Sweetest Christmas DSP. We are using that, and I'm going to do a Poppy Parade color for you today. But I will show you how this opens. So let me set this aside. Stand this up. Right now I just have it tied at the top. I think I'm gonna create a clasp that is actually like a magnet, but I haven't made it that far yet. This is not my design. I am copying a designer from the UK called Terry Pocock, I think was her name. Super cute project. I've been making it for about 2 years now. So the box actually opens like this. It's got this nice little slanted opening. You just pull out. It's nice and secure in there. And then you just pop it back in and close up the box, and there you go. Is that so cute? Okay. So first let's go ahead and make the little elf shoes. First thing we'll need is a piece of just basic white scrap. I am using, believe it or not, I am using the Bewitching stamp set. So I believe this is one of the last chance items you can find on my online store. I'm not sure. I need to double check that. But some of these products will be retiring. So it's your last chance to get them now through January 4th. Go check that list out. But we're just going to be using the witch's boots today, and then I'm pulling more sentiments out of the sweet candy cane set. You know, that's like one of my favorite sets so far. So to create the boots, I put the boots on my block. I'm going to go ahead and use garden greens since we're using garden greens and poppy parades and real reds today. I can tell you this looks super cute in the shaded spruce because that is what this one is. It's a little more brighter and bold, but it didn't blend as well as I wanted it to. So all we're going to do is you're going to take either some Scotch tape or some Post-it paper, or if you're like me and you have the Post-it tape, you can use that as well. Okay, so again, I'm just taking my Post-it tape. I cut it down a little bit, see if it sticks. And when your stamp is, I just cleaned it with cleaning solution and so forth, so it doesn't want to stick as well as it should. But as long as you block that heel off, you can go ahead and take your ink pad and just go ahead and ink that up. Okay. Before you turn it over, make sure you remove your Post-it tape. And then just go ahead and lay it down on your basic white. Sometimes with this stamp set, I notice that I have to hold that stamp in place for just a few minutes for all the ink to absorb onto my basic white. Sometimes that happens with certain stamps, and I don't know if it's just mine or if everybody's incurring that, but so I just hold it and pull it straight up, and there you've got your little elf booties. Ha ha, I love it, I love it. So we went ahead and did that. And then all you would do is color this in. I used the dark Mango Melody blend to color the buckle. And then you can use like your Real Red or your Poppy Parade and color in a little bit of red. And I'll show you how to do that here in just a second. Well, I'm also going to go ahead and stamp the rest of my sentiments I'm going to use. So I'm going to do the Candy Cane Wishes and Mistletoe Kisses in Garden Green as well. And then I'm going to do my Christmas Cheer in the Puppy Parade. I will just come over here, give that a good press. And that is all the stamping we're going to be doing. Now, I would just take the bullet end to color in the buckle. Kind of gives it that gold look. And then I'll take again the bullet end of the E. I'm going to use Puppy Parade right now. The other ones I used Real Red. And then I would just color in that white spot. And you can leave them white too. I just wanted to add a little Christmas color. When you come to the top here, since the feet are going to be swinging, I actually just made it. I made another little block for myself. And just colored that in on both sides like so. And then we just will fussy cut those out. When you fussy cut them, you want to, I left my centerpiece up here. I had made a set and I don't know what I did with it, so I will have to go back and find it. And then for the Christmas cheer, again, I'm using the dual punch, the dual oval punch. So I'll just slide that in, cut my sentiment. And then I will also cut this one down and back it on a piece of garden green, which we can do that here in just a minute. Okay, so we got the stamping out of the way. Go ahead, you can fussy cut that at any time. Again, keeping the shoes together, I am looking for the one I already created to show you, and for the life of me, I cannot find it. It's how it always goes, right? Aha! I got it. So when I fussy cut them out, I just cut around it, and then I just kind of left myself a tab up here because we're going to punch a hole and attach that, okay? Okay. So let's go ahead and get our paper scored. So the first color I'm using, I am all kinds of messed up today. So the first color, the size I'm using is actually 3 7/16. It's just one sliver before the 3 1/2 for those of you that need need that. So I made it just a little bit smaller so that it will fit in the box. And what we're creating right now is the base at the bottom of the box so the bottles don't roll around down there. And all you're going to do, so this is 3 7/16 by 3 7/16 squared, and you're going to score it at a 1/2 inch on all 4 sides. And don't jump the line like I just did. Okay. Okay, so we'll set that one aside. The next piece you're going to want to do is going to be a 7.5 by 11. Okay, so on the 7.5 inch side, we're going to score it at 2.5 and at 5. We're going to rotate that to the 11 inch side, and we're going to score it again at 2.5 and at 7.5 and at 9.5. You're going to rotate that so you have the 2 score lines at the top of your scoreboard, and you're going to score at 2 inches down to the second score line. Again, stopping at the second score line here, you're going to jump over to 5.5 and do the same thing. Score it down to that second score line. Okay, and then we will be removing some of those pieces as well. We'll come back to that. So I'm going to set that aside. Then I'm going to bring in a piece of 7.5 by 7.5 squared. I'm going to score that at 2.5 and 5. I'm going to rotate it and score it again at 2.5. Put that piece aside. Now I'm bringing in a piece of 3.5 by 8 3/8. I'm going to score that at a 1/2 inch and at 3 inches. I'm going to rotate it to the long side. Let me think here. And then I'm going to score that one at 2.5 and at 4.5. Okay. And then we're going to do some cutting and some removing, and then we will move on. So on this piece right here, the one with the longest section, I'm going to apply a piece of DSP. You don't have to at this point, but I like to make it look a little bit fancier on the inside. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is where we're going to add our hole, and then I'm just going to add some DSP right in there, okay? Our circle, not our hole. That sounds bad. Okay. So we do need to remove some of the pieces. So this is going to be removed. This is your 2.5 inch section, and this is going to be removed, okay? Now you can use your cutter, you can use scissors, you can do whatever works best for you. To be honest, I was using my cutter earlier. I just get a cleaner cut. So I'm going to move that, and then I'm going to wedge in on this tab here. So I'm going to give it a nice little wedge. Same thing here. I'm going to wedge in. Okay. On this piece here, I'm going to cut a very large wedge, and on the long side, I'm going to cut a nice edge there. Okay, and then same thing at the top. And I'm going to rotate and do the same exact thing over here. Might even take a little more right there. Okay. And then I'm going to Again, I'm going to cut and make some tabs here. So your piece should look just like that. Now, here's what I was telling you. On this piece, depending on what you're going to put inside the box, whether it be the wine or the bubble bath, you need to determine what size of circle dies you're going to use. So these are the layering circles, and for the bubble bath I use the smaller size. We'll measure that. So for the bubble bath, so let's measure that real quick. That die measures from outside to outside 2 and 2 inches, right? Yeah, so the actual circle is like 1 7/8. Okay, so, and then to make the frame for that, you would just take the next larger circle up and create a frame to go around that if you want that. Again, that is just simply optional. If you want that piece, fine. If you don't need to cut it. If you're using the wine bottle, you're going to need a bigger circle die. It's going to be a little big, but not super big, and it still keeps the wine in place. Okay, and that one from the outside edge to the outside edge is measuring at 2 3/8. So let me show you here. So from the outside edge to the outside edge is 2 3/8, okay? And then if you again want to make a frame to go around your circle, you would just take the next circle size up and create a layer, or you could add scallops too. I just wanted a cleaner look this time, okay? So I'm going to lay down a piece of DSP on this, and this one is cut at 2 3/8 by 3 3/4. Now you can use liquid glue, you can use your Stampin' Seal, whatever one you like. And then you just put some glue on there. Okay, and that'll go in your longest section. For me, I like to fold this in. So I can get a nice border and I can see it. Sometimes the colors I don't see that great. Just trying to get a nice border all the way around. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take our circle die. Again, I'm doing the wine bottle, so I'm going to use the 2 3/8 circle, and I'm just going to kind of give that a nice even, lay that out where I got a nice even on top and bottom. And then I'm going to go over to my die cutting machine, and I'm going to cut that circle out. When I come back, this is what I'm going to have. So this circle will be removed. And then I decided that I wanted a frame on mine, so I went ahead and cut a frame, and I'm just going to glue that there now. Okay. I'm going to bring in my glue mat. Sorry about the arm shot there. I'm going to bring in the glue mat. And just put my frame right in there. Okay. Now as you can see, I added tear and tape to the bottom tab here. Again, I totally recommend using liquid glue on here, but we all know my patience level is low. So I wanted to try and make this video not so long, so I add tear and tape here, but I am going to use liquid glue when we insert this inside the box, and I will show you how to do that in just one moment. To create the inside, so it's actually going to create like a little a shelf inside the box for your bottle to sit within. I just took that 3 7/16 piece again. I took my circle die, taped that down, went over to my die cutting machine, and created my base that way. And then I'm just going to create tabs. So all the little 1/2 inch tabs here, all I did was cut straight up and wedge each tab like so. Okay. And then I'll just glue those together to make like a little frame. Okay. See? And then we just put it together like that. So you have an actual, so your bottle will sit inside it just like that on the inside of the box. So we're going to set that aside for now. And then I'm getting a mess over here, people. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on the lid. To work on the lid, you're going to cut straight. Well, first, let's do one thing first. I'm going to bring in my cutting board. And from, this is going to be where the 2.5 inch section is actually going to be the top of your box. So from the top of that box, I want to measure in 4.5 inches. Okay. And then you can take your stylus or you can take a pencil and mark that 4.5 inch mark. So I'm just going to take a pencil and mark that. So at that 4.5 inch mark, I'm going to cut from this corner and I'm going to create a point up here. So we're going to go from this to that first score line. Lining up my pencil mark in the track and lining my score up here too. My score line right here, I'm lining that up in the track so I get a nice smooth diagonal cut. Now I'm going to turn it around and do the exact same thing on the other side. So I'm going to line my 4.5 inch, my score line in the cutting track right here. And then remove that piece, and there is where you'll have this front panel right here. Okay? And then you're just going to cut up these score lines, cut straight up these score lines. I'm going to cheat a little bit. And then I'm just going to take a tiny wedge. I don't want it slanted. I don't want it, yeah, I don't want a slant in that. I just want a nice even. So then as you can see, you're going to take just a sliver out, making it go straight up, okay? And then I'll come to the back here and I'll remove that. I'll remove that piece as well. So when you're done, you have a template that looks like this. Okay? And now we're going to bring in our 7.5 by 11, and we're going to remove some bits on there as well. So this little 1/2 inch score mark is going to go away. This little 1/2 inch score mark is going to go away. This panel, this panel, this panel, and this panel will all be cut away. And then on the bottom, you're going to cut up to your 2.5 inch score line, and you're going to do the same thing we did on the lid. Just take a straight little notch out of each one of those lines, okay? So I do this better when I do it on my cutting board, I'm sorry. I'm going to line this right up at 2, and then I'm going to take that down to 2.5. And then I'm just going to take that across. Ooh, I don't want to go all the way across. Okay. And then I'm going to remove that little section there. Then I'm going to come over and do the same thing over here. Cut this score line. Okay. And then I'm going to bring it and I'm going to cut down there. And then I'll remove these two sections. And the reason I use a cutting board is I haven't been cutting straight lately, so I'm trying to make it look as nice as I can. I don't know what's going on with me. Okay, so you're going to have that, and then you're going to cut this one away, and then you're going to notch in and notch in. So you're creating a tab right there. Okay, same thing on the other side. Okay, and then the bottom we're going to cut up. We're going to cut up on the bottom. And in the end, you'll have a template that looks like this. Oh, I forgot one detail, didn't I? I'm jumping the gun here. So we need to create slants on this as well. So the same thing you're going to do. God, I hope you guys are following me. I am so sorry. Again, where you have the 2.5 inch score mark, this is going to be the base of your box. You need to measure 4.5 inches up and make yourself a little mark. And then we're going to go ahead and cut our slant in again. So we're going to go from this point here to our pencil mark. I am so sorry if I'm making this difficult to follow. Okay. So we're going to create that slant right there. And we're going to come into this side and do the exact same thing. Pencil mark, line up the and create your diagonal piece. There you go. So when you cut your diagonal piece, then you're going to look, your piece should look like this, okay? And then we're just going to go ahead and fold and burnish. I sure hope you guys are following along. If you have any questions, you can always email me, ask me questions in the comments below, and I will be more than happy to answer. I'm going to fold in each tab. Okay. Okay. So we've got everything folded and burnished. We're going to do that on all of our pieces here. Let's set that aside. This is still going to be a long video, and I tried to make it shorter. If you got any pencil marks, now's the time to erase them. This is the best type of eraser. Can you read it? The Pentel white erasers. I love those. Okay, now you're going to bring in your DSP. And whatever DSP you use is totally up to you. But what I can tell you, dimensions, of course, will be at the end of the video. You're going to need 6 pieces that are 2 3/8 by 4 7/8. So I'm using coordinating, so I don't want everything exactly the same. So I chose 2 different patterns, which would give me 3 and 3. Okay, then you're going to need 2 pieces that are 2 3/8 by 1 7/8. Again, I had different coordinating pieces, so I'm going to have 1 7/8 by 2 3/8 in each style of paper that I am using. And then for the lid, you'll need a 2 3/8 by 2 3/8 squared piece of paper. Okay. And then what you're going to do on this is the base of your box, so this is the bottom. You're going to choose which paper you want. You're going to have glue one piece down in the middle, and then what we're going to do is we're going to create our diagonal cuts for each side. And the way you do that is there's more cutting involved. You're going to bring your cutting board back in. You're going to put your papers together like so. So the design that you're using are on the outside of both pieces. Line those up very well. You're going to put that in your cutting board at 1 7/8, and you're going to again create yourself a mark. You're going to take that mark, line it up in your cutting track, line up the point in that cutting track, make your diagonals. Okay, let me put that away. Bring in my template here, and they should line up pretty close. You may have to do a little trimming, which is fine, but in reality they should line up like so. Just go ahead and glue those down, and you'll do the same exact process for the lid, which I have already done to make it short and sweet. Okay, and then I need to burnish these pieces as well. And then we will attach these. Again, I'm using liquid glue so I can slide my pieces where I need. Okay. border all the way around. I think this is still going to be a long video, so feel free if you need to fast forward. I totally get it. I tried to make this as quick and painless as possible, but it is not quick and it is not painless, so... Ugh. I'm going to have to edit some of those choice words I used a minute ago. Okay, so now we've got that all together. Now we're actually going to put our box together. We have one more piece of paper to add, and this is this section here. Let's go ahead and fold and burnish all pieces. So this will be the bottom. This is going to actually sit on the front of your box right here. So we need to attach one last piece of paper. And that is one that is cut at 1 7/8 by 2 3/8. I'll just attach that to that section right there. Okay, so we are going to marry up our score lines. So I am taking the inside piece to my base, and I'm going to line up my score line here, and I'm going to line up my score lines down there, and then I'll attach it that way. So I'm just going to attach it just like that, okay? So you're going to have that piece together. And then I always debate if I want to attach my lid or not at this time. But I think we'll wait and do it at another time. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to come in and we're going to add glue here. Fold this over, and we're actually going to attach that to our inside panel here. So when you come up, it should be right under this score line. Okay. Add some glue, and I like I said, this project is definitely a liquid glue project for myself, because you do got to fiddle with it a little bit. So you're going to take that outside and you're going to marry that up right on the inside. Like so. I'm just going to take that and press it down here. Okay, so now you see how that comes together. And again, this piece right here is going to fit right underneath this score line. And then we can glue the other side down, or we can put the tab in place, whatever you find easier. I'm going to go ahead and add my glue sloppily. And I'm going to remove my tear and tape. That up just a little bit. And now you have the basis of your box, and then you just kind of want to take a bone folder and rub it inside, get that attached down. If you can't get your bone folder, the pencil edge or the eraser edge of a pencil works. And then now you have your side. We can go ahead and put the bottom of our box together. So I'm just going to fold in. Oh no, see? Okay, so the little tray that we created to hold our bottle, we're going to slide that in. Make sure that when you slide it in, this up here, it should sit in there just perfectly like that. So you're creating a little lip for that bottle to go into, okay? Then I'm just going to close my sides up. And then this is my back. And now I've created my base. Okay, I'm just going to take my bone folder and make sure that little is pressed in there nice. So we got that all together. It's looking great. We're almost done. Hang in there with me, please. Now we're going to attach our lid. Now it becomes a little bit tricky attaching things. So what we're going to do again is we have our tab that we created here. We're going to come and line your score line up. Can you see that? Okay, your score line here with this score line here. And it looks to be perfect. The great thing about tear and tape is it sticks right away. The bad thing about tear and tape is it sticks right away. So that's why I recommend doing liquid glue here, even though it's a little bit tricky to get attached, even a little more trickier on camera. I can't lay it down. I can't cuss at it right now. I don't want nobody to hear my potty mouth. Okay, so we got that lined up. And when you wrap it around, you should get a nice snug fit. Okay, you're just going to wrap it around as long as everything is fitting good. And then you can glue your other side as well. Okay, bring it over. Make sure you line up those score marks. Looking good. Pull that side back just a little bit. Okay. We're almost there. We're almost there. Okay, so now our box is together. We've created our lid. I'm not going to play too much because I don't want it to, it's not all the way dried. So we've created our box. Now you'll notice that this piece is a little shorter, and that's because we're using 7.5 by 11. So you don't want that to show on the inside. So you're going to fold over one of the sides first, okay? And then you can glue this back piece in. Okay, so I'm folding in my side, and then this is the back of the box that I'm folding in, the smaller piece. And then I will fold it together like so. Okay, you can open the box and press that down so it sticks. Okay, and then we can just finish gluing. Okay. This top flap I'm going to glue a little bit better. Nice and square. And then I'm going to add my 2 3/8 by 2 3/8 piece to the top of the lid, just to make it very pretty up there. If you're using directional paper, just pay attention to that before gluing it down. Oh my goodness, we're at 40 minutes. I apologize. Okay, so I just added that. Okay, now I'm going to take my little bottle of wine. I don't know what size this is, but I bought them in a 4-pack. And then I'm just going to slide that right in. And it goes right in. Fit into the tray that we put at the bottom of the box. And as you can see, it closes right up. It's closed here. If you want to take some ribbon and tie it to the top, that way it just, when you're carrying it and stuff, it doesn't fall apart. Probably do another video where I create a new clasp for that, I think. Okay. And I'm just going to tie a nice bow. Like so. And I love this red ruched, or red, what is it called? Red ruffled ribbon. It's in the annual catalog. It ties so beautifully. So then I'm going to just create my greeting on the front. So I took my little elf boots, and then I'm going to take a brad. I'm going to use one of the smaller round ones, I think. You can use whatever size you want, but I'm going to use one of these white round ones. Okay. And then I took my double oval punch and I punched a garden green, and then I know we just punched our greeting out, if I can find what I did with it. Christmas cheer. Okay, so what I did here is I wanted my feet to move, so I kind of positioned this over my feet like so. And then I'm just going to take a paper punch. I'm using the little bitty one, but you can use whatever you have. And then I'm going to punch a hole through both pieces. Take my brad and slip it through there. Okay. And now his feet can move. Or her feet, whatever. And then I took my greeting and I popped that up on dimensionals. Do I have some? I do. Okay, so I don't know if this will work. When you put your dimensionals, you want to keep it towards the side so the legs can move. That brad can move. Okay, and then I'll do the same thing again. I'm going to pop the bottom up on dimensionals as well. And when you do that, you don't want to put your dimensional over your brad. Otherwise, his little legs won't be able to move, okay? So, oops, right here. Keep that towards the end here. Make sure he can still move. Ugh, got it crooked. There we go. There his little legs are. And then we just take our sentiment that we created, our candy cane wishes and mistletoe kisses. And this, I don't really have a size for you. I stamped it on scrap and then you just cut it down to the size you want it. So there's no real dimensions for that. Okay, and then I glued that straight to the box instead of popping it up. Okay, and then if you wanted to add some bling or whatever, you could. At this time I used the red rhinestones. Give it a little oomph. Grab my pick tool. And then I'm just using my red rhinestones. Okay, 1, 2. And of course he needs little pom-poms on his booties. Okay, and then let's add one more. And there you go. Okay guys, I am sorry I kept you so long. I knew this project was going to be a little fiddly. If you have questions, I know I didn't explain everything 100%. If you have questions, please send me a message, make a message below, and I will get back with you as soon as possible. Go out there, happy crafting, and have a fantastic week. Bye-bye for now.